I know a lot of print-on-demand sellers are tired of seeing their original work stolen and then made available for sale on other marketplaces, or maybe they're undercut by price on the same marketplace. Yeah, it gets old very quickly. Did you guys know though that there is a pretty big online fashion brand that recently sued for this specific thing? They actually sued Shein, which is a really large name, I think. I'm familiar with them at least, for ripping off both their designs and their mock-ups. And I'm going to show you everything you need to know about this case. It could be a nice step in the right direction where, you know, it's almost like a warning shot has been fired, hopefully. We'll see what the outcome of the court case is. So this document is a 52-page PDF explaining basically Brandy Melville versus Shein Distribution Corp, filed in the District Court of Central District of California, Western Division, okay? Now, the main thing that they are suing for is actually easier to show. So let me show you first, and then we'll kind of walk through it. I had ChatGPT do a summary so we don't have to make a 5-hour-long video because I'm a slow reader. But check this out. So Brandy Melville's original work, you know, the fashion that they're selling through their website, is available on the left. And on the right-hand side, you can see Shein essentially copying it. You know, they did go out of their way to change the color, it looks like. But if you were to purchase this from Shein, then Brandy Melville would not get the sale, and the customer would ultimately get a cheaper sweatshirt arriving at their door. Here's another example. So this is this eye pattern. Now, Brandy Melville actually trademarked this, not trademarked, sorry, copyrighted this. So when it's this infringement, it's going to be a lot easier to enforce because it's copyrighted, and provably so. Now, in the United States, copyright protections are automatically assigned to original works, but if you're going to take somebody to court and try to claim damages, it's always good to be able to prove original ownership. Otherwise, I'm guessing the other side's lawyers will have a field day, right? So I wanted to also remind you guys, I did a video about a service called Protect My Work. I'm going to link to it in the top of the video here, that made it very easy and affordable and actually viable for print-on-demand sellers like you and I to prove copyright of our work with a simple drag and drop and upload, and it would give us a timestamp official certificate to prove copyright ownership. So I will also link to that video in the description as well in case you want to check it out. So here's another instance of infringement. It looks like they just cropped this photo, so they just kind of zoomed it in. The original on the left, the replica on the right. And here's another one. This one's like my favorite because look at the original photo on the left. On the right, they actually went out of their way to distress the design, which makes me wonder if you actually ordered that shirt, would it come distressed or would it come looking like the one on the left? Like, because they could have easily just ran this through AI and that was the output. And maybe they just deal with replicating the design after the sale takes place, you know, because with print on demand, if you're an experienced graphic designer, you could theoretically do that. Anyways, check the cars in the background. They changed the color of the cars. They changed the street. They changed the sidewalk. So it's kind of interesting to see like the minor subtle changes. But I mean, imagine being Shein and having to answer to this in court. Like, this is just a YouTuber talking, so I'm saying everything's allegedly here. But I allegedly think that it's pretty obvious AI just made some basic changes to the image on the right. And then here's one more. Now, it's kind of, again, it looks just like an AI changed something up, right? Because you can kind of see a difference in, it makes it look like that girl's neck is longer, or did they just crop it? I don't know. It looks like she got taller on the image on the right, like they stretched her out. And then also made the hue of the shirt or the saturation a little bit darker on the right-hand side. It's just interesting too that Shein did this. Like, I can't help but wonder, what do you guys think? Did somebody manually do this? Like go and seek these products out and then copy them? Or was this using a bot? You know, if you've been selling print on demand for a while, you're no stranger to the fact that bots very often will go to a place like Amazon, especially Amazon merch listings, where they can grab the full resolution design from the source code of the page and go and sell it on, you know, literally you could make a whole script that does this automated and creates product mockups and lists it for sale on other marketplaces or on your own Shopify website. I remember I was only a few months into selling print on demand when I saw my first design that had been stolen. It was in the fantasy football niche, and somebody stole it and listed it on the Shopify website that just had like thousands of stolen designs from Amazon. Do you guys think that they manually sought this brand out, Brandy Melville USA? Or do you think that perhaps they just had a bot that did it, and then made it available for sale? Maybe used AI to make minor changes to some of these images. And then after the sale takes place, they'll kind of figure out how to fulfill the order. It is kind of interesting to ponder. Anyways, as print-on-demand sellers, guys, owning copyright and being able to prove in, kind of a time-stamped ownership of copyright certainly would help if you're going to go and seek legal action as Brandy Melville is doing against Shein. Now, if we go over here to ChatGPT real quick and scroll down, so what essentially they are seeking, their legal causes of action: copyright infringement, false designation of origin, common law unfair competition, contributory copyright infringement, and vicarious copyright infringement. And they actually give a little description here. So they own the copyrights, the eye fabric design that we looked at, and then all of the photos as well. The mock-ups is what I called them. And here are the allegations against Shein. Fast fashion copying. Shein uses a data-driven, on-demand model to quickly replicate trending designs, including those of Brandy Melville. That should sound familiar, guys, because a lot of times the bots on Amazon that steal the designs, they look at the data point that is available on Amazon called BSR, which essentially tells them how well that product is selling at the time and if it's sold in general, and there's other services they could use like Keepa that even show BSR history. There's a lot of ways to basically data mine Amazon and get real accurate data of any product that's being sold on the platform. Bait and switch tactics. Shein allegedly used Brandy Melville's actual product photos on its site. Customers believed they were buying genuine Brandy Melville, but received cheaper knockoffs instead. Trademark/origin confusion. Using Brandy Melville images to sell knockoffs is allegedly false destination of origin. And then here's the claimed damages, which always reminds me of, I used to teach web development at my alma mater, and we had a lecture about basically all just legal stuff. And I used to invite my dad, who's a lawyer, and he always got so excited when he could talk about like damages claimed, you know what I mean? Because that's essentially, as the lawyer, how you get paid as well. Or I guess it could be, I don't know. I guess every agreement's different, but I always remember he always perked up when he would talk about that part. So let's see what Brandy Melville is seeking. Consumer confusion and brand dilution. Alleged damage to consumer trust and the value of the Brandy Melville brand. Because if people expect it to be on the Brandy Melville official website and then they see it on Shein for a cheaper price, they're going to be pissed, right? Financial harm. Brandy Melville seeks at least $1 million in damages, potentially more. Why not? For trademark claims, they seek treble damages and attorney's fees. Requested court orders, injunction to stop Shein's infringing actions, seizure/destruction of infringing products, accounting and disgorgement of Shein's profits, compensation, and legal costs. And then here's a quick why it matters. It reflects larger theme, and that inspired this video. Intellectual property risks in fast fashion. That is a problem. That's like print on demand is fast fashion to me, or at least it's part of it. Similar lawsuits like brands from Dr. Martens, Ralph Lauren, Victoria's Secret, Uniqlo, H&M, and artists, and shows how on-demand business models can lead to aggressive copying of designs and imagery. So it's going to be interesting to see what the outcome of this is, but at least for me, I felt like it's a good step in the right direction. It's almost like a warning shot's been fired that anybody who is partaking in things like this should think twice about it, because you might get taken to court. Now, Shein, having such large operations worldwide, is going to show up and going to have to answer to this. And I don't know. I mean, again, it's all allegedly, but they're at least going to have to show up, right? And you would imagine they would do so because they have so much to lose if they didn't, being that they're making so much money around the world, right? Fast fashion. If you're not familiar with Shein, go check it out. Anyways, smaller brands, though, because it's not that hard to write a bot that goes and steals the designs, essentially just reposts them for less money, undercuts. Who knows how that's handled, At the same time, even if we could prove copyright, it's like, I'm just keeping it real. What do you do? I don't know that that's ever going to change with print on demand, at least in the near term, but I'm not trying to talk anybody out of it either. There's still so much money to be made with print on demand, and you can also kind of avoid, to some extent, the likelihood or reduce the likelihood of you being targeted by somebody either manually or using automation to copy your stuff based on your niche selection is the main way that I've done it over the years, which also was a function of me just being willing to create a lot of product listings and have a lot of really, really, really small wins as opposed to like very few really big wins, if that makes sense. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll link to everything in the description. Have a good day.